I love to talk about the building and our building project because it is so full of stories of how God has provided for us. Just getting the mortgage was an adventure in itself. I must have talked to at least 50 bankers. And what ended up happening was that after I had run out of steam and just pretty much given up, I was talking with Bob about it, and he handed me a business card, and said, "Oh, I met this banker. Maybe we can talk to him." And I looked at the card, and it said Vice President in the name, and I thought, "Oh, brother, Bob must not know that Vice President is like an entry-level position at a bank." But I called him up, I made the appointment, and I went to the meeting, and I started running through the deck, the slideshow, and talking about the vineyard and our building project. And this guy, the Vice President, came and sat in on the back of the room. I was talking to the head of underwriting, but I thought I better be nice to this guy, and so I shook his hand and made sure to acknowledge his presence. And as it turned out, the guy was the president of the bank. He had been promoted, and he just was using up his old business cards. We had a lot of favor with him and with the bank, and I'll never forget the day when we got the approval letter. I read it, I picked my jaw up off the floor, scanned it and sent it to Troy, and I said, "Troy, can you read this for me? I'm not sure I'm understanding it right. What I'm seeing is fixed price, not adjustable, fixed term, 20-year mortgage, not a 5-year balloon, and it's a decent rate, and there's, reasonable fees. Am I getting this right?" And Troy scanned through it, and he's like, "I'm seeing the same thing." That was just such a relief and just so unbelievable to get that kind of a deal as a church. And here we are at the tail end of that. As you know, most of you know, we had a building campaign recently, and the goal was to raise enough money in the pledges to be able to retire that mortgage and to pay it off. Well, the other week I went to the bank and I got a formal payoff statement, and I wrote a check and I paid off the mortgage. This is the receipt, which means that this document is no longer necessary. It's such a blessing to get the mortgage. It was such a blessing to get the mortgage, and it's such a blessing to be finished with it, because now we still have a little bit of debt, but that's zero interest bearing. And what happens when you get ahead of it like that, we're no longer paying interest on the loans. So every month, every payment that we goes directly 100% to reducing the balance. And it's just wonderful. If you were one of the people that made a pledge to the building campaign, thank you. If you were not, you can know that if you ever feel led, you are welcome to make a designated donation to the building fund, and that goes straight to reducing the debt and getting us to a place where we have just so much more freedom to reach out and serve the community. Thank you.